here today with you. I'm very happy to know that you are viewing in, you are watching us live, wherever you are. This is called the Sisters Empowerment Show. The Sisters Empowerment Show has been started up by two sisters, and that is Daisy, myself, and Lillian, who is going to be our host today. So we are based in Kampala, in Uganda, that is in East Africa. And I know it will be a good experience for you to learn from our motherland, that is Uganda, where we have the rich land, the equator, the sea, the rivers, the forest, the wildlife, and everything. We're not going to talk about that. Incidentally, in this show, we shall be sharing with you a lot of things to do with employment. We are going to tell you about skills development. We are going to inspire you, to encourage you out there. We are going to speak to the youth out there who have lost hope. We are going to speak to the corporate people, those still in employment, those who have lost their employment, those who are seeking employment, and any other person who would think that this information we are going to share with you will be relevant. So I would like to invite you to subscribe, to like, to share, to comment, and also to give us your views in case you want us to change anything, in case you want us to host you, in case you feel there is anything we need to change the way we do this program. Your views will be welcome. As we go on, I'm glad to introduce to you one of the co-hosts and founders of this Sisters Empowerment Show, and that is none other than Lillian. Please, thank you. Join me for this program. I'd like to welcome you to this program.
Thank you so much, Daisy.
Okay.
Thank you for hosting me today.
You're welcome. So Lillian, I know that you know why we are here. I know you know why we have started this show. Can you please tell us briefly about yourself? Start by telling us your name.
Thank you, Daisy. Yes, viewers, my name is Lillian Nangendo. I work with the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, particularly in Employment Services Department, Counseling and Guidance Division.
Lillian, you've just told us you work with the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. You're doing things to do with counseling. Can you briefly tell us about exactly what that department entails and what you do, so that viewers know where we are coming from and why we are trying to host you and then starting up this show?
Thank you so much. Yes, with the Counseling and Guidance Division, particularly under the Employment Services Department, we look at school to work transition. We provide mentorship sessions for job seekers, those that are employed, those that are not yet in the labor force, like the students. We provide career guidance and counseling, especially in relation to preparing people for employment, for the labor market. What is it that they must have in order to be employable? So we emphasize the aspect of employability skills. And with this being with the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, this is a free service that we offer to all Ugandans, those that would want to work within the country and those that want to work abroad. So we provide those skills. In addition to that, we also provide psychosocial support services in relation to preparing the mindset change to help individuals be able to be prepared for employment. How best can they sustain themselves in employment? How do they develop their careers? How can they be able to understand the importance of acquiring employability skills? And in order to be successful in life, how do they become successful in life? So with this, we do not do it alone. Of course, we have a number of partners that we are working with. And I'm glad that I have the opportunity to be part of this show, the Sisters Mentorship Show. So with what I'm working on, it is really an opportunity for me to get out there, to share with a number of people the services that we have, and also reach out to a number of people that can be of help to those that really need the services in order to improve on their skilling and productivity aspects in life. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much. Our dear viewers, as we go on, I just want to clarify, we are not here as for our positions that we occupy, but we are going to use this platform to share what we are working with you out here. So Lillian, you've told us about what you do and the various projects that you've had. Now, can you tell us, okay, before we go there, can you take us through your education journey?
Yes, just like most of us, Lillian is a humble person from a humble background. I studied from Stella Maris Boarding Primary School in Suve. I know there are some of my OGs out there watching, where I was in right from primary 1 to primary 7.
Did you used to dig in Suve? Can you share with the viewers those special moments that you remember about in Suve?
Yes, Stella Maris Boarding Primary School in Suve was a boarding primary school. Of course, it was headed by a nun, for now,
the late
Sister Bernard. But we enjoyed our life out there during that time. Of course, it wasn't. We would see it as if it was really hard life
as a punishment.
We would see everything as a punishment. But now we try to reflect what we went through and where we are now. We really have to appreciate. Reason being that. With that school, we had a lot of things to learn from, right from digging, from peeling, of course, we had also the good times of when we would have parties, we would have the dancing halls, the cow dances when we were still young in primary.
Yeah.
So most of those things, as we grow up, we really learned to appreciate. And to me, I feel that it is a life that helped to prepare us for who we are now. And of course, right from primary school, I joined Uganda Mata Senior Secondary School, Namugongo, where I completed my senior 4. Then my senior 6 was St. Lawrence Horizon Campus. Then I went to Makerere University, where I did the Bachelor of Arts in Social Sciences. Then I proceeded and did my Master's in International Relations, still from Makerere University. Of course, with the employment aspect, life was not so easy, but what I learned, and maybe what I would like to thank my parents, was that from university, our parents, like Daisy mentioned, by then we grew up with Daisy in the same home, same family, and everything.
Can you tell our viewers who your parents are and where you grew up from? Because they might be wondering where you grew up from.
Yes, I grew up from Namasoba Palazon on Etebe Road, currently directly opposite the famous Freedom City, down there. In a humble family, that's where you find our family, headed by Mr. John Baptist Walusimbi, with Madam or Mom Kate Nakanwanji. Of course, we were a family of many people, but affordable, manageable, interesting and exciting, both boys and girls. So it was really a good experience to understand the gender aspects of both characters of the different gender that we had. So then I was taking you back to after my university, my bachelor's degree in social sciences. I know life was not so easy.
Did you get a job so easily? Like some people just finish university and they just jump into the employment sector.
You know, while you're in school, you think as soon as you graduate with your degree, it is a must, it is automatic, you get a job. Especially for us who, personally, I did not have the opportunity to work while I was studying, although maybe in my senior 6 vacation, I had the opportunity to work at Shell Kazi in a select shop, which gave me some ideas of work environment. I really thank my dad, Mr. J.P. Walusemi, for helping me look out for a job during that short vacation of senior 6. But then, of course, during university, it was a full program, day program, where I could not have the opportunity to work. Of course, I think I wouldn't have managed, but after university, there is that feeling that once you graduate, you get into employment very fast. But to be honest, it wasn't. Only that the advantage that I had is that my parents were willing to pay for me to go for short courses. Like, for instance, I used to go and study French. I studied French for some...
So you know French?
Yes,
You're
bonjour,
lucky.
madame. I can, the simple basic French, I can understand some of the things. Of course, then I went for another short course in counseling and guidance. Little did I know that I would be now.
Where
It
was
would
that?
help me still before university, but I did that course in YWCA, which is
Bumper Road?
on above CPS, Uganda, YWCA.
Yeah.
Uganda, WCA, next to actually where I
Young
work.
Women Christians Association.
Yes, Young Women Christians Association. That's where I did a short course in counseling and guidance. And I thank my teacher. He's actually called Mr. Male. He's a well-known counselor, psychosocial counselor. And we've interacted in some of the forums now while I'm in employment in the ministry. So, of course, from then I've done a number of courses during the time, even when I got into employment personally. I've liked to acquire new skills. I did...
Okay, before you tell us about your interests, can you tell us about how you got into employment and where you got employment? Because our viewers out there think it is easy when you jump out of school, you just go into that dream job. Tell us briefly about where did you go, briefly. You may not tell us how you got this and that, but we want you to share your experience so that people out there just don't think that, you know, it's a bed of roses. When they see you, they do not think that, you know, you just get it in one day.
Wow. Thank you. That is very interesting. Actually completed my bachelor's in 2006. So that's when I graduated in 2007. Now, getting a job or into employment was not something easy. However, like I mentioned, from university, I talked out to my dad that I need to go and study French. So in the meantime, personally, I wanted to keep myself busy, but also move away from home, and also maybe utilize the opportunity to check out in the papers, to meet some friends, but as I would study. However, little did I know, on my graduation day, you know, we invite so many people, and there's one person who I was told that from the speech I gave, he picked something from what I said, that basically what I mentioned was that I really want to get something to do. I do not mind how much I'm going to earn. So one time then I got a phone call that there is something I can help in his office. So when I received the phone call, of course, while I was studying my French, because it was a part-time, by midday I would be done with the French lessons. Then I went, met this person who was called Mr. Chiaga Geoffrey. He had...
Are you talking about Geoffrey, the rally driver?
Yeah, Geoffrey, the rally driver.
Okay.
Yes, he had his office, and basically what I was going to do there, he needed someone to help him, especially in filing bookkeeping, and personally, I took the opportunity very fast because I wanted to be busy. I didn't mind of the kind of job, I didn't mind about the money or something, but I took it up. And with that job, I managed to learn to assist actually in record keeping, in filing, which job I did very well. But since the work was basically IT related, dealing Reuters with banks, So I also learned some IT skills in that aspect, like how, assuming that the simple computer basic things, like if maybe if your computer maybe blacks out, what do you do? What are the simplest things you do? Of course, is it plug in and off, those small basic things, and learned a few things like ping, the male, female cables, some language in IT, which was interesting and exciting.
So how long did you spend there?
Yeah, I spent 2 years. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, in that time, I would still apply for job opportunities, because with that office, he would buy newspapers, and basically I would use Mondays and Wednesdays were the days when job adverts would run in the papers, New Vision and Monitor. So I would take the opportunity from school, go to work, do what I can do, but also utilize the newspapers and to try and look for a job. Then, of course, while doing the short course in French, I would meet 1 or 2 friends, those that we had completed with university. Then, of course, some of them would tell you how they are adverts in different organizations. So you try, maybe you meet in town, you drop a CV here and there and all that. Of course, there are some of our friends right from university, they got employment.
So that is what we call networking. That is the way you start networking. So I believe during that time, you did not know that you were really trying to create some networks. Yeah? Yes. Tell us further where you went. Did you stay there?
Share with a hostel room. One time gave me a phone call that they need fresh graduates in the Ministry of Water and Environment, and by then they were taking on social scientists and engineers. So, but basically the communication I got was a phone call that they needed social scientists.
And that was your area of specialization?
And that was the area of specialization. Then I was like, okay, let me give it a try. So when I called this person back, are you going to apply? Then the person was like, I'm going to try, but I even don't know what do social scientists do, really. Are they the ones that follow-up clients? Sorry. That are the social scientists, the people that move from one home to another, taking electricity bills in people's households. Then the person was like, they are not willing to take that up. Personally, I sat and I was like, but I'm looking for a job. I don't know what really social scientists do. But then what I had to think through it, and I'm like, okay, let me try to inquire, but I did not get anyone to tell me even what social scientists do, and I even didn't know where the Ministry of Water was located. So until one time, I remember actually when I called that person, I asked the person where was Ministry of Gender located. Actually, the person also did not know. So she said she was going to follow up on where she had got the communication. So later when I tried to follow up, they told her that it's around Luzira, those that know Kampala, Uganda. So by then Ministry of Water rather was in Luzira, and the communication I got was that please just board a taxi on Kampala Road. There are a number of taxis that move. You'll find them calling Luzira, Bugorovi, Luzira, then you just board and you find your way. to Luzira. So one time when I prepared my CV, I moved and did as I was guided, and I got myself to Luzira, the very final stage. So reaching there, of course, where we were supposed to drop our application forms, I reached at that time when it was lunchtime, and I had to wait. The person who was receiving the documents had gone for lunch. So I had to wait and sit outside to wait, I think, for over an hour. I looked at the time, but then I was like, I have nothing to do. I've come all the way, all the way from Entebbe Road, those that know Kampala, to Luzira. So I said, no, I cannot go back. Let me wait. 1 hour is okay. I started my application, my application later, until later when someone saw me and asked why I had come. Then I explained to myself, and they directed me to the office where we were dropping the application letters. Little did I know shortly, by the time now I was called for an interview. Now I was pursuing another short course in counseling and guidance at Young Women Christian Association. That was a 6-month course. So by the time actually I was about to accomplish that certificate, it was actually during examination time that I received a phone call. It was even approaching Easter time. So during Easter time, so from receiving the phone call about the application, I did not expect it. I actually initially did not get the message clearly.
Was it a gentleman?
It was a lady who called, but by that time when I received the phone call, I was preparing for an exam. So initially getting the message of what was being said, it was not clear to me. So what I did was that I had to call back to the person who had called to get clarification on the message, which message I got, and I got the clear dates and timeline on when to go for the interview. So on reaching the interview, I met my other former students that I had studied with in university, almost the same year, all those in social sciences class, so which was a good thing. And luckily enough, maybe to cut the whole story short, so I was taken on as a graduate trainee in the Ministry of Water, in the rural water department, where I started my journey.
I can imagine the excitement.
On a 1-year contract, but to us it was okay. Even after the 1-year contract, it was not obvious that we would be taken on, but we were told to hang in there. You will leave home without knowing that they will pay you your salary or you will get transport. But somehow, luckily enough, since I was staying home once in a while, I would tap into daddy and mommy's some fees so that I get for the transport. Some money for facilitation, until later when we were considered and given contracts, 3-year contracts in the ministry. Actually, before I even completed my 3-year contract, I had to think outside the box that really this is not a permanent thing. I needed to move, and I sought seeking for permanent employment. That's how I got to join Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, first as a senior rehabilitation officer in the Department of Disability and Elderly, and also with that I supported the SAGE program, Social Assistance Grant for Empowerment. Then immediately, that was around in 2000 and I joined the Ministry of Gender in 2013. Then in 2017, I got a senior principal position back in the Ministry in Employment Services Department, where I'm currently working. Of course, with the formal sector, I've been able to I personally have what inspires me outside the formal employment. Thank you.
So Lillian, I'm really thrilled by your employment history. I have picked a few things here and there. I have learned lastly that when you get a job, it's not your destination. You can always seek for a better job, yeah? That is one thing I've learned from your history. But two, you don't have to know someone, because from your story I've heard you just didn't know anyone, you didn't even know where the place was, but you still insisted. So these are some of the things we are going to be sharing with you, the experiences we have gone through as people who are in the formal employment. Fast forward, Lillian. Yes. I know you have been through the formal employment, and I think not all that glitters is gold. People out there might think you've just had a very smooth ride through the formal employment. I talk with you, I know and understand you have had also some experience outside the formal world. Can you please take our viewers through your informal employment journey?
Oh wow, this is interesting. Like Daisy says, one, you have personally, one needs to discover yourself, your interests, then you look at the world around you. What is it that one has to do in order to survive, or even be successful, or to adventure, or to be innovative? Of course, through our journey, there are a number of inspiring stories. Then, of course, through the friends we have. First and foremost, maybe my informal sector journey started right from, I can say what you said, the social capital. The friends we make in school, primary, secondary, you never know where they are leading us. So this was a time when those of you that know Kampala, downtown, there's so many shopping malls and arcades right in Chikubo.
Chikubo is the business area,
center.
you know? The business heart of Uganda, actually. For those of you who don't know where Chikubo is, that is where you will find all the items for sale. I think that is where every business person would go to find what they are looking for, yeah? Yes, so how did you go to Chikubo?
Of course, when you started working, like you said, Chikubo has a number of things, items, clothes, shoes, everything you want to find. So while I would be moving down Chikubo to buy a few clothes, a few items, I came across my old girl, the person I had studied with in primary, and we would remember our names very well, and would remind ourselves of that nice school of Stella Maris Boarding Primary School. She was my classmate in primary 6. So here she was in a shop selling nice items, and I was one of the clients in there. So I tried to ask her about her journey, how she got to be in a shop and own a stall. To me, it was something that inspired me even while I was in the formal sector, but then I reflected and I was like, wow, this is interesting. This person can be able to buy her own stuff, manage her own business, make her own money as and when she likes. So I would once in a while go pay her a visit and we'll share some of those things. But of course, like at times you have to reflect. You're like, fine, I'm in the formal sector, but I also maybe, can I fit the other side in the informal sector? Then like you have to have an open mind, and if it's something you're interested in, I also picked interest and
so what exactly was she selling?
She was selling, we call them tops, dresses, nice jackets. Basically, that was the business. That was the business, and that's why I would go there to buy some of the items I would put on. Yeah, the clothing I would put on for my office wear and the like. But
So fast forward, what did you learn and what inspired you when you went to your friend's shop?
what inspired me, one, I like the way the clothes or the items would be set up in the shops, on the display. And then the other thing, knowing that a person of my age,
Your age mate.
my age mate is having her own stock. She can be able to attract customers. She can be able to collect some good money. And I saw life was good with her. So it is something that inspired me about her. And I thought maybe it's something maybe I could try out there, even if I could not do it personally, but maybe with my time and schedule, maybe I would later hire someone to do it for me. Of course, I know with business you need to do it yourself, but at times it's not possible. So that's how I got into the informal sector and the interests.
So how do you get there now? From seeing your friend doing her business, putting up a very nice display, what did you do?
Yes, when I went back after, of course, it doesn't happen the way I'm saying. It takes some time. It could be a year. But I had to share this with my brother, who is my follower, called Lillian, about this. And I talked to him about it, that it would be important, at least if we got some small space in Chukwu or downtown, so that we sell 1 or 2 items and also be able to attract some clients. Good enough when he shared with his old friend in school whom they had studied with. That person owned a shop in Chukwu, and when he shared with her, that's the story, it was as if it's timely, because this friend of his had a shop and wanted someone to co-share with, or to co-rent with the shop. And then later, that's how he came and told me, oh, I have a friend who works in Chukwu and needs a partner to work with. Then I said, wow, that's just find out how much is required, what is needed. And that's how we came up with a baby stall. So we'd sell children's items, and that's how we started. And later, with my old girl who had taken long in business, for her she was even shipping items from China.
Wow.
Yes.
She was shipping items at your age?
Yes, very young. In China, then I try to ask her once in a while, how do people get there, what is required, what is necessary. So when she took me through, I went back, discussed with my brother, said, I think it's a good idea, we can take it up and utilize the opportunity. Little did I know that this same interest would also inspire my sister here.
That is true. That is very true.
So I also had to come and share with her the story of course, later she was also able to start business in selling out items to customers, and she also opened up her own shop. And later we had to discuss and see how best we could also be part of the greater group that goes to China. Because we were like, no, if others can, why not us? Yes. So we had to check through ourselves to see what is required, the budget, the money, and we had to do what it takes. That's how later we got ourselves to China.
Yeah, our dear viewers, I know you must be wondering why we are going through all this, but I mean we just want to take you through this to know that we have come a long way. And those are some of the the stories that we have in common. You know, as sisters, sometimes we have common things, both successful things and challenges. So this is a very interesting part now that she's going to tell you about. I also own a shop, as I already told you, and I do sell children's items, shoes, clothes, everything to do with children and then adults. But I mean, I got all this inspiration from her. You can imagine she's my young sister, but she inspired me to this. And as if that was not enough, she even told me about China. And me, in my life, I had never dreamt about going to China. Because all my life I was like, what would I be looking for in China? Join us to listen to the story of how she finds herself in China. Lillian, tell us about the China story.
Yes, thank you, Daisy. Please do not forget to subscribe, share, like, comment on this show. This is interesting. Actually, this is our real life experiences. So, how we got to China, like I mentioned to you, through my old girl whom I studied with in primary. She had been in business earlier than myself, and when she gave me the confidence that it is possible and all the requirements, and we already had the passports, because being in the formal sector, there are some key important things that we personally, as members of our family, we see that are important: having a driving license, having a passport.
A transcript?
Having a transcript, academic documents.
Those are the must-haves.
The must-have, and now we have the national ID. So a passport was not something we did not have. Everyone had a passport, and it was easy. So just what was left was to find ourselves to the embassy of China. So when we went there, of course we didn't go once or twice. We went a number of times. So when we got the visa to China, of course, first we were given a 3 months visa, where you have to go once, one entry. We got there, we are actually adventurous people. And before going to China, we had earlier on adventured to Dubai. So going to China was a little easier and simpler because we had traveled somehow. So when we got to China, this was very exciting. What we learned was that China is very interesting. There are a number of items, very big malls. We saw big malls right from, I don't know how many, I think not even kilometers, districts or counties of shopping malls, like when you go to Guangzhou, Yiwu. When you reach the shopping mall, everything you see there in China you want to carry home. But remember now, this is business. Actually, the very first time we went there, the first week, we had asked for, is it 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, first time to China. Oh my God. By the third day, we wanted even to book a ticket to come back in the very first week. Reason being, almost we realized that the money we had taken was not, it was sufficient of course for the items we wanted, but you find that if you do not have self-discipline, you would find that you can consume all the money in the first day. And also maybe what do we need to do before you go, if you're going for to shop, like in such big markets. One, we realized that you needed to go for market surveys. You identify the markets where the items you want are. Otherwise, if you just bump into any shop, you find that you can buy anything in just one day and you consume all the money in one day. And actually, you fail even to sustain yourself while you're there.
Actually, to add on to what Lillian is saying, China is a very funny country. And for those of you out there, I know many people in business in Uganda do not tell the truth. But when you go to China, you'll be surprised by what you find there. All qualities of things are there, all nice things are there. But the problem is that sometimes people here in business never disclose to us the truth before you go to China. So you go with a very different perception, and then sometimes you get there and find something very different. So viewers out there, one thing I want to tell you and advise you is that before you embark on such business journeys, you have to do a lot of research. You have to research about what you're going to do, where you're going, and what items are there. Because I know, like, China is not a country where they speak English. You remember, you have to learn a few things, like how to greet, how to ask the prices, how to ask them to reduce for you. So you can imagine people who very good English going to China and you find that your English does not help you, but you have to behave like someone who has never spoken good English. And secondly, the networks we created there. You remember that when we went, we met certain other people from Uganda. These guys really helped us, take us through the markets, told us where to buy things and where not to buy things, how to buy your things, how to budget. I mean, it was such a good adventure. I know it was not something easy for us to adventure with our little money, but we still adventured and went, yeah? So we came back with our stuff, and yes, tell us more about from China. Let's move on first and see what went on there, and you go back to your informal journey besides the shop. Is there anything else you are doing that you think you want to share with the viewers?
Yes, thank you. That was, the journey to China was very exciting. Basically, maybe what we learned from there, like Daisy mentioned, is we actually learned how to budget and plan for the money. So then, even when we wanted to reduce on the number of days that we would take in China, we had to go back to the drawing board and now be realistic on what exactly we had to zero down to the actual items that we wanted to buy, identify the markets for those specific items, then also how do we get there, how do we get our items shipped to Uganda, which people can help us. So, and even clearing the taxes, then putting your things in store, how to calculate your cost and your cost price, the selling price, and how much do you earn from. Is it really worth going to China? Or so there are a number of things we really learned from that. Now, in addition to other things that basically we got from China, there are really a number of things. Businesses, how do you sustain your business? Of course, now currently we are in the COVID situation, things are not going to be the same, and we appreciate the importance of technology. Now we can be able to order for items online. That is, if you have your supplier out there who can be able to help and ship for you the items. Therefore, you do not have to go to China physically. Yes, like you mentioned, in addition to my other formal sector, like I said, as an individual, as a person, being that with the social networks we've made, now you have to sit and realize and also discover yourself further. One, in relation to the formal employment, that is fine. But now you have to sit and see how, apart from being employed and doing the routine work of assignments, developing this, being good at what we do on our jobs, but there is something that we need to do. I believe viewers, each and every person has something that they have passion for. For instance, one may have passion for fashion and design, another may be good at decoration, others are good comedians, others are artists. So basically, personally, even when I went to school, now if someone is to ask me if you are to go back to school, what is it that you can do that you did not do? Personally, I'll tell you, I like baking. You'll be surprised. The course I can do for now is bakery. Is one of the thing I have passion for. And
what strategies have you done to fulfill that interest that you want? Are you moving towards your interest, or you just love it and you just think about it and leave it in your mind?
Like I can actually tell you, after my at my WCA, while I was doing a course in counseling and guidance, they have a course in catering, hotel management and catering. And one time I was sharing with one of my cousin sisters that after that course I'm going to enroll for catering, and they just laughed it off. But little did they know that actually for now I'm a good baker.
Tell the audience that you are really baking.
I'm the CEO of Lillian's Bakery.
Yes, where is it located?
It's located in Namasuba, Palazon. So we make nice cookies, cakes, bread, pizzas, a number of things really. And I'm willing actually to learn much more. That is an area I have passion for.
So, our dear viewers, I think you are already getting where we are coming from. The reason I'm asking Lillian to tell you all this is to just let you know that actually, besides your formal employment, there is much you can do with your youthful life and time. Besides putting all your energies to your office and your formal employment, you can put some extra time out there and do something else, like we have told you. You can do personal business that does not require you to stay in that business, but you have to get the skills of supervision, monitoring, and evaluating your business. But two, you may discover yourself, for example, for her, she has interest in bakery. And as I told you, actually, as we move on to this program, you will see what she bakes. We shall practically take you to the bakery and go through what she's baking to prove that. And this is why we have come up with the Sisters Empowerment Show. Lillian, fast forward with what you've told us. Now, what inspired you to come together with me to start up this Sisters Empowerment Show?
Wow, thank you. First and foremost, what inspired me to come up with you to start up the Sisters Empowerment Show. One thing, of course, without you, my sister, I think we would not start this. Reason being, like you mentioned, I see there is something in common. I think especially maybe this came from the fact that we came through the same school, and we grew up in the same family. But notwithstanding, being that you're my elder sister, there are a number of things I would learn from you. You would inspire me right from the time I was really little, I was really young. Even when I could remind you some of the things that you told me, but maybe you cannot even now recall, right? From the time when I remember when I completed my senior 4. And I was looking for placement in, remember when we went to St. Joseph's in Zambia. And of course, there I was given a combination of MEC to do sciences. Then later you advised that, okay, sciences is good, however, take this path of arts. Then it's something that you may not remember, but me, I recall, and definitely I had to take your path. Reason being, maybe by then I think you were in university pursuing your bachelor's of law, and I said, okay, maybe I understand sciences and all those things. To add up things, then I had to take that path. But however, you were always my inspiration, even right from the time I was little. And of course I realized that even when I would share with you some of the ideas, there is somehow you would keep up and maybe take up the advice, we would advise each other on one, two, three things here and there, and here we are. And the fact that when you brought up the idea to start this Sisters Mentorship Show, to me it was a surprise, but it's something that I really also liked. You know, at times you need a push. I was like, okay, good. This is something that we want to start, and she likes, and personally it's something that I had to consider. Then, of course, the fact that each and every one of us has met a number of people, or we meet so many people in our different ways of life, in our workplaces, we move, and of course we need to embrace technology. Of course, with technology, the social capital I realized that I would benefit from your friends. And
That
you would
is true.
also
I would
benefit,
also tap on her friends.
benefit from my friends.
So the social capital we are talking about is not just mere friends, the high friends, and then the friends you go with to drink, and that's it, yeah? So we are talking of the useful, entrepreneurial, social capital. I know Lillian is good in this field. She's taught me a lot of things actually, but social capital is very relevant, so we shall continue teaching you more about what social capital is all about. Yes, Lillian?
Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, share, and like, and continue following us. Now, of course, being that there are a number of inspirations that you inspire me first and foremost. So I realized that since you needed this to start, I had to sit and think through this. And I'm like, everyone has their opportunities, their advantages, so I needed to also back onto the advantages that you have in order to make this happen. Personally, in many things I look at what are the positives. So because I knew she liked to start this, I'm like, if I do not start, then she may lose it, or she may bring on board someone else, and then I would be there watching. So, and I would later regret, but then since we also have something in common, I really saw that the people that really have not had the opportunity to share their experiences, we want to start from someone who is starting small, someone who has started something, not already those that we see have succeeded. So therefore, with this forum, we shall be able to bring on board a number of people that really have their story to tell and maybe have not had the opportunity to do so. That is why the Sisters Empowerment Show is here. Please do not forget to comment, subscribe, follow, share, and like. Thank you so much.
Yeah, our dear viewers, please stay in touch with us, subscribe, like, share, comment.